Freydis Eiriksdottir. An evil and cunning woman, or a brave Shieldmaiden. In the new TV series, Valhalla, on Netflix, which is set about 100 years after the events in the Viking series, there is an important Viking character, named Freydis Eiriksdottir, or, in Icelandic,
Freydis Eiriksdottir.
Freydis is played by the Swedish actress, Frida Gustafsson, and will be a very important character in the show. Freydis is mentioned in the Vinland Sagas as a fierce and strong Viking woman, fighting of Skrællinger, as she is being attacked, while pregnant with a child. But, was Freydis Eiriksdottir a real person, or is she a fabrication by skilled saga tellers who like to spice up their stories? What do we know about this fierce and legendary Viking woman? Let's find out.
Þetta Viking Saga með Magnusi.
Freydis is a female name formed by the Norse words Freyr, dedicated to Freyr, the god of love and fertility, and Dis, which means sister, woman, or goddess. Eiriksdottir simply means, daughter of Eirik, which is how the Vikings named their children. Eirik's many sons therefore were named Eiriksson, the son of Eirik. Freydis Eiriksdottir appears in 2 of the sagas. She appears in the so-called Vinland Sagas, both of them recount stories that are a blend of history and legend about the Viking settlement of Iceland and later Greenland, before moving on to Vinland in North America. Vinland was a newly discovered place, rumored to be a wonderful land with lots of game to hunt, and self-sown fields of wheat. Freydis was supposed to be a young woman at the time of the Vinland voyages, so she most likely was born in the 970s. Freydis is among the explorers in both sagas, but they give very different accounts of her. In one, she is heavily pregnant and scares off a group of attackers by waving a sword at them. But in the other, she is manipulative, ruthless, and supposedly murdered a group of defenseless women, in cold blood. No matter which one of these sagas is correct, or none of them at all, Freydis is a fierce, tough-natured woman in both accounts. In Eirik The Red Saga, named after her father, Eirik has to flee Norway and went to Iceland because of an unlawful killing he committed. But he wouldn't stay there, because his crimes were soon known to the Icelanders, and he therefore fled to Greenland. Freydis is portrayed as the illegitimate daughter of Eirik the Red, without the sagas mentioning who her mother was. But we know her brother Leif Erikson was the son of Eirik's wife Skjadhild. The Vikings did in some cases practice polygamy, and Viking men, therefore often had more than one female partner. Freydis was probably the daughter of a servant or slave woman, which means that her social status was lower than her brother's. When the Vikings met the natives in America, who they called Skrællinger, it started off well with peaceful interaction between the two people. And we know there were several trips to North America, also after Leif Erikson's journey there. I made a video about that, go watch that, after you have finished this. But the relationship between the two people soon soured, and the natives attacked the Vikings in a surprise attack, in which several of the Vikings were killed. Freydis couldn't run as fast as the others because of her pregnancy, and when she fell behind the rest of the group, she yelled at them, calling the men cowards, for running away from such pitiful and wretched people. She had no other option but to defend herself. She picked up the sword of one of the dead Vikings and swung it at the attackers, then revealed her naked breasts, slapping the sword on them while screaming at the natives. This act so impressed, or possibly scared the natives, that they turned around and left, and Freydis managed to get away. We hear no more about her in Eirik The Red Saga after this, but the group makes it safely back to Iceland. Eirik The Red Saga thus gives a very sympathetic account of Freydis. It conveys her vulnerability as a mother-to-be and her extraordinary bravery despite her low status. In the saga of the Greenlanders, Freydis is rather less sympathetic in her journey to Vinland. Here, she is active in the planning and decision-making for the expedition and much more of a doer than in the other saga. Freydis and 2 of her brothers agreed to bring the same number of people on the journey to Vinland. They also agreed to divide whatever resources they acquired equally. But Freydis brings 5 more people than agreed, so she had a larger force than her partners. In this version, the situation with the other Vikings deteriorates because of mutual suspicion and infighting, rather than an external threat from the natives. One morning, Freydis orders her crew to ambush, tie up and kill the men in the other group. The Viking men in her group refused to kill the women who remained alive, but Freydis scolded them for their lack of manliness, and took an axe and butchered the women herself. The group makes it back to Greenland with their spoils, but although Freydis bribes her crew to keep quiet about what had happened, the word got out about these horrific killings of her own people, and she ended up as a social outcast. So, did Freydis Eiriksdottir really exist? Many of the characters in the Icelandic sagas have lived in reality, while others were no doubtedly created by skilled saga authors. Unfortunately, there is no way for sure to know if Freydis Eiriksdottir really existed. There is no other independent evidence about Freydis, and the saga authors may have put someone like her into their story, to add a more dramatic element to it, and spice the story up a little bit. Because a pregnant woman of low status, showing remarkable bravery, in the face of mortal danger, is undoubtedly a very good story. So good, that some people, 1,000 years later, made a TV show with her as one of the main characters. And some random dude also made a video about her, here on YouTube. I hope you found this presentation interesting. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and remember to push the bell button so you get a notification next time I upload a video. And please leave a comment below on what you think of this story. Which one do you think has the most truth to it, or if there is a Viking subject you think I should cover here on my channel.
Þakka þér fyrir að horfa og ég vona að sjá þig í næsta myndbandi. Skál.